at Descendants. I'm not gonna lie, growing up, these movies were my favorite thing. I have all 3 original movies on DVD. In my opinion, those 3 were pretty good. I enjoyed the ideas, and I absolutely loved the villain kids. So, as you would expect, I saw the trailer for Rise of Red, and
What's my name? What's my name? Say it louder.
the autism neuron in my brain went crazy. I need to watch. That was my immediate thought. However, upon watching it, something just didn't click. The story was bad, the songs were every 5 minutes, good God, the songs. And there was little tension or even any conflict between characters. Things just happened! Also, the designs of the characters. How did we go from this to this? Okay, maybe it's a reboot for the younger generation or something, right? Let's consider that for a moment. Now, while that can be true, as a story writer and an artist, I have to say, the younger generation deserves better than this. The story, insignificant. The character designs, unmemorable. It's just a big step down from the original movies. It's like that big corporation doesn't care anymore and is just recreating a good movie into a less than mediocre cash grab. But they wouldn't do that, right? So, as a perfectly sane person, what do I want to do about this? What was that? Redesign the 2 main characters and completely rewrite the story? Well, I couldn't possibly do that. Alright, we're starting with Red, the Princess of Wonderland and the daughter of the Queen of Hearts. Her design is mediocre. It's practically all one color, and it doesn't fit her character. She's literally rebelling against her mother, so why would she wear all red? Red is literally her mother's color. So I'm changing the color of her outfit. Red wants to be good and not turn into her mother, rebelling against expectations. So, how do we convey this through color and outfit design without it being boring? Well, I'm changing her color palette to be completely different. Instead of a bunch of red, we're going to have some pastel yellows, maybe some orange, and some purple. First of all, I'm doing this color palette because it is a banger color palette. Like, that is a sunset color, and I love sunsets. Second of all, I'm doing the color palette because yellow signifies happiness and hopefulness and just good vibes in general. The purple is because it complements the yellow, and the orange is because it just looks nice. Her outfit design is going to change as well because she can do better than just a shirt, jacket, and tights. Also, I'm changing her hair color to pink, and I'm chopping off her hair. I feel like she would immediately just remove all her hair the minute she got her hands on a pair of scissors because she is not turning into her mom. And one little fun fact before we move on, I like the idea of Red being amazing at illusion magic, and whenever she's happy, illusion flowers bloom around her and a soft glow emits from her, because how cute is that? Also, it's Wonderland vibes. Get on to the cart, we're going straight to the races. Now, her part of the story before she meets Chloe. I do want to say that I'm not going to use any information from any Descendants books because I feel like you shouldn't have to read a book to understand what's happening in a franchise. So, for the rewrite of the story, I'm going to be using the knowledge from the first 3 movies and how they did their stories, and the dumpster fire that is Rise of Red. So let's begin rewriting. The original story goes as follows. Red's mother, the Queen of Hearts, has taken a tyrannical rule over Wonderland. Obviously, Red doesn't want to be anything like her, so she rebels, until a letter arrives from Uma, the new principal of Auradon Prep. They go to Auradon, and literal war breaks loose. Now, on the surface, it's an okay storyline, a little bland, but it kind of works. So let's take that entire concept, throw it in the trash, and start a new one. The Queen of Hearts is a horrible tyrant over Wonderland. Everyone fears her because if anyone tries to rebel, it's off with their head. Red, her daughter, rebels in the best and safest way she can by changing her appearance. Her mother punishes her for this by keeping her locked up in the castle, but Red doesn't mind. Outside in Wonderland is just as bad as inside the castle. It's bleak and weary, and the whimsy has been sapped from all the residents. However, Red notices something during a lesson with Maddox Hatter. She sees a relic that has been locked up within a case in the Hall of Relics. It's a pocket watch that takes you back in time to whenever your heart desires. However, Maddox tells her that using the relic is a terrible decision. He doesn't tell her why, but there's a look of guilt on his face as if he knows something she doesn't. Their conversation is cut short when a letter arrives from Uma, telling Red she's invited to Auradon Prep, and all she needs is her mother to sign off on the letter so that she can be accepted. Maddox convinces Red that she should try and persuade her mother to let her go because it's her only way out of dreary Wonderland, so she agrees. They part their ways, planning on confronting the Queen of Hearts the next day. However, Red doesn't believe this plan will work and sneaks into the Hall of Relics in the middle of the night and steals the pocket watch because she believes that's her only true ticket out of Wonderland. The next day, they confront her mother, and before Red can even try to explain why she's there, her mother shuts her down. However, her and Maddox lie to her mother, telling her that Red can go to Auradon, rise to the top, and take it over for Wonderland, another kingdom taken to expand their reign of terror. Of course, none of this is true, but her mother believes them, surprisingly. She signs off on the letter, and they prepare to leave. Red is elated. However, the Queen of Hearts has other plans. When they arrive at Auradon, they go through everything as normal until Principal Uma's speech. As she's explaining that they've invited Princess Red to Auradon, the Queen of Hearts stands. Everyone is shocked, and Uma politely asks her to sit down so they can continue with the ceremony of inviting the new kids. But the Queen of Hearts listens to no one. She takes her pack of cards and declares war on Auradon. Red, horrified at the situation, is practically frozen in her seat as she watches everything happen. Uma tries to fight off the Queen of Hearts, but before she can even swing her sword, the Queen has taken her head with the Ace of Hearts. Now, you might be thinking, but Akari, that's too gory for Disney. Have you not watched other Disney movies? They literally hung a guy once. Sure, it's a little much, but this is my story now. We're gonna do this my way. So, now that we're done with Red's side of the story, let's focus on Chloe. Chloe's design it's okay. I'm not going to bash it, but it does need to be upgraded in a sense. She literally wants to be the fencing captain, so let's show that a little bit more with her outfit. Also, before you ask, I'm completely scrapping the glass shoes. She doesn't need them, they're not practical, and we'll get to her mother spoiling her later. So first of all, her hair is changing. I'm changing the design because her hair loose and down, like it is in the movie, is completely impractical for fencing. Also, fully colored hair has been seen for the VKs only, so we're keeping that trend going, but for funsies, we'll put some blue streaks in her hair. Her hair is going to be black because that just makes sense for me. I mean, there's no reason it wouldn't be. And it makes the blue pop so much better than, like, literally any other color. Now, her outfit is going to be similar to my reference images you can see, but change a little for practicality. Also, her color palette in the movie is literally just blue. Nah. We're not doing that. I'm going with green and brown. I'll explain why in a little bit. I'm also shortening her hair a bit because, well, I like short hair on girls. What can I say? Girls with short hair are peak. Of course, there's nothing wrong with girls with long hair either. I just prefer short hair because it looks yummy. So, for Chloe's original story, she's the daughter of Cinderella and Prince Charming, and her brother is Chad Charming. Her mother gives her glass shoes because she's been good, and basically spoiling her because she didn't get nice things as a child. Chloe and her mother go to Auradon Prep, and she meets Red, who's rather standoffish towards her when she tries to be nice. During their ceremony, war breaks out, yada yada, it's her part of the story is surely something, I'm not going to lie, I absolutely hate it, and I'm not going to waste our time here, so I'm just going to get on with the rewriting. Chloe Charming is a hard-working, only child who wants to prove to everyone that she's the best because she's Prince Charming's daughter. Her life is all about fencing, which worries her mother a lot. She has no social life and thinks that being the best is the only thing that gets you respect. Her mother, Cinderella, doesn't believe this at all. She doesn't even wear her big fancy dresses because she prefers the simplicity of her regular plain dresses. She doesn't force anything upon Chloe. She allows her to dress however she wants. However, she does ask her to do chores, small tasks like keeping her room clean and learning how to cook from the chefs. Stuff to keep her humble but without forcing anything upon her. They go to Oridon Prep and Chloe meets Red while going through the sign-in lines. Red is kind and tries to talk to her, but Chloe ignores her because she doesn't trust a VK, especially the daughter of the tyrannical Queen of Hearts. Red tries to ease her worries by showing her flowers made of illusions, but Chloe doesn't care. You can be sweet on the outside, but have a sour core. Once they get to the opening ceremony, everything is going fine, until the Queen of Hearts declares war and beheads Uma. Chloe immediately draws her sword and dashes towards the Queen, intent on ending her tyranny. However, she doesn't get to because Red tackles her to the ground and everything flashes white. Now, I said I was going to touch on her mother spoiling her. Honestly, I can't see Cinderella spoiling her daughter so much. Sure, she'll be happy her daughter isn't having to live the life she did. However, I can't see her spoiling her into someone who hasn't done a chore in her life like she is in the movie. So that's why she does some chores in my version of the movie. It's her mother trying to make sure she doesn't become a horrible person later on in her life. It's character. Also, her color palette. I made her color palette green and brown because green symbolizes distrust and brown symbolizes a strong character. I'm changing everybody's colors to match their personality for the most part. Now, while that didn't happen in the other movies, they did have colors that lined up with their parents. I won't discredit that, but they still had their own characterization. And it was actually more than just one color all over. When I look at the Rise of Red cast, all I see is a color wheel because there's literally no other colors on the characters. They are flatter than a piece of paper, both in design and personality. Now, while I had originally planned to just redesign Red and Chloe, I also want to redesign the Queen of Hearts because, well, look at her. I'm also redesigning her as a teenager because, honestly, Bridget kinda just looks like Cupid if you think about it, so yeah, she's getting an overhaul as a teenager as well. Her design isn't going to change too much, but I do have a couple ideas. This totally isn't filling time for the rest of the story I have planned. First, her dress. Horrendous. If they created her dress with the sole purpose of making me want to burn it, good job! I'm burning it! So instead we're going for a more traditional dress. A simple black with heart designs along the bottom that kind of resemble bloodstains if you look at them for too long, and a simple ring of hearts around the neckline. Now we're cooking with designs. Her hair, I'm going to be honest, it's pretty boring. It's just straight. It looks like they took a piece of paper, wetted it, and draped it over her head. I'm not gonna lie. So, what if we change it a little into this lovely haircut I have on screen for you because I'm not exactly sure how to describe this. And also her crown. It's okay, however, it basically blends into her hair, and I didn't even remember that it existed until I looked at a reference picture. So what we're going to do instead is change the crown to gold because it makes it pop. The design is going to be a bit different, but other than that, that's all I'm changing on her. Everything else is fine. So, where does the rest of the story go in my version of events? After Red tackles Chloe, they arrive at Merlin's academy. They fight over the pocket watch like in the original movie. However, Chloe keeps the watch from Red because she believes the minute she gives it to her, Red will abandon her in the past. She goes to find an adult, and Red follows her because she doesn't want to leave a relic of that power with someone who doesn't know what they're messing with. As they're walking around, they hear an altercation and they follow the sounds. They find Maleficent and Hades as teenagers tormenting two girls, who turn out to be Bridget and Cinderella, the Queen of Hearts and Cinderella. There's an altercation with the group, and Maleficent and Hades promise they'll get revenge. Chloe starts to follow after them to stop them before they can start anything, and Red tries to follow her, but Chloe forces her to back off, threatening to break the watch if she keeps following her. Red backs off and says something about how Chloe is acting a lot like a VK for being Cinderella's daughter, a supposed good kid. However, Chloe just walks away, acting as if she didn't hear her, following Maleficent and Hades. Red gets comforted by Bridget and Cinderella, and then she realizes that that's her mother. As Chloe follows Maleficent and Hades, she's absolutely fuming that Red had the audacity to say she was acting like a VK. She finds her way into a clearing, and Maleficent and Hades are gone. She gets upset because she lost them and she wants to protect people. However, Maleficent appears beside her and says that it's not fair for her to be treated like a villain by her so-called friend. Chloe, taken aback, steps away and says that she and Red aren't friends. However, Hades appears behind her and restrains her. Maleficent uses a mind control spell on Chloe to get her to do whatever she wants. Long story short, Red tries to figure out what caused her mother's personality to change so quickly. Chloe is helping the VKs through mind control, and eventually Red finds out what's happening with Chloe the day before the dance. She helps Chloe break the mind control, and Chloe realizes that Red isn't as bad as she thought she was, and she probably shouldn't make first appearance assumptions on people. However, the VKs are planning on turning Bridget against her friends by making it look like they pranked her and made her look like a monster in front of everybody. Red and Chloe manage to stop the VKs, and Chloe gives Red the pocket watch back as a sign that she trusts her now. As she gives Red the watch, they're thrown back forward in time, and they're back in their seats at the opening ceremony. The Queen is standing up with her back to Red and Chloe, however, Uma is smiling as she looks at the Queen now. The Queen walks onto the stage, and Red and Chloe see that her dress has changed. It's now pink with hearts across all of it, and she's smiling with warmth. She tosses her cards up, and they turn into pink sparkles that float around and play, getting everybody to laugh and clap. Red relaxes as she sees her mother has returned to who she was before. However, nothing is ever that simple. As Red rushes up to her mother and hugs her mother, she seems confused as to why her daughter is hugging her. And then a scream of the word mom can be heard, and Red turns to see a girl that looks like her but with longer hair, standing at the other end of the palace. The other Red points at her and screams, "Imposter!" Anyway, that's my idea on how to rewrite Rise of Red. The reason the rest of the story is less in depth than the two main character parts of the story is because I don't want to be here for 2 hours explaining everything that I have as an idea for how to make Rise of Red better. However, I am considering making Rise of Red rewritten, a book or a short on YouTube, a small short film that avoids copyright strike. But for now I'm going to focus on my other projects. Thank you for watching, and please consider joining my Patreon where there's no threat of losing your head. Bye-bye!